Welcome back to Going Solo. I'm Rick, and this is our first episode of 2024. It's also the first episode of our new killer series, Inkanyamba. So, before we get started, let's just go over a couple of special rules. Before I do that, you'll notice that I am using the official Final Girl playmats now. I couldn't use them before, it didn't work with my camera setup, but I have changed the camera where I can get it up higher and extended my desk a little bit so that I can use them because I do absolutely love them for gameplay. Now, special rules. We've been to Sacred Groves before, so just to review, we have an add-on to the Bloodlust track, which controls our Divine Wrath tracker over here. We also have atonement cards, which allow us to reduce wrath. And we have a special token once the finale is revealed that will be added to the finale. For Inkanyamba, we have a similar setup. We have an actual Killer Wrath track. The Atonement card can also reduce it. I get to choose which Wrath to reduce. And I think, let's see, if we get an Unleash, Unleash is here, they'll tell us which Wrath we are unleashing, if it's one or both. Now, normally these Wrath tracks start lower, but for this particular scenario, it has specified to start each one at level 4. It also says that I start off the game with an Atonement card, and the Ceremonial Dagger, which is hidden somewhere in the item decks, is 2 damage instead of 1. So let's hope I can find that. Hoping we can start the new year off strong and win this game. So let's go ahead and get started. Inkanyamba watched the girl from the bushes, trying to remember why she had to die. She was with a crowd of those blasphemous tourists. I was wronged. I was hurt. And the girl must pay. Was this the girl? Was she the one? What had happened to him was beyond forgiveness, and only vengeance could satisfy him. He had not been able to shake the memory of her, and he had asked the gods to show him who was responsible. In the midnight hour, they had revealed to him her identity. What happened to me? I don't remember. There was a dagger and blood. I only know anger, and rage, and wrath. The gods had shown him favor, and now Inkanyamba would kill this girl for what she did to him. Then, finally, he would be at peace. Alright, so we start off with an event card. This event card is Fire and Brimstone, so we roll a dice. That's a 6, which means we get the Holy Groves, which is here. So it gets the Fire and Brimstone token. Each victim in that space counts as 2 victims when calculating Divine Wrath increases. Okay. So we put that up there, and we'll just have to remember that each victim there counts as 2 when counting Holy Wrath increases. Luckily, there's nobody there yet, so hopefully we can keep it that way. Alright, so let's get started with my 0 cost cards, in addition to the Atonement card that I get from this particular scenario, and we'll get started. Alright, so I'm already in an exit space, and I'm right next to a search space. So let's go ahead and use our Atonement card. Now we do start off at a level 4 horror, so I get 2 dice. They are both partials, so I'm going to use a weak attack and a short rest as discards. turn one of them into a success, so that I can decrease one of them by 1. Let's see. The Killer Wrath allows them to move. The Divine Wrath right now just discards 1 random action card. I think I'm going to lower the Killer Wrath this time. Okay. Next, I'm going to walk. I got 1 success. So that means I get to move 1 space and I lose 1 time. But that's enough to move me here. And on my next turn, I will search, hopefully, and walk again to get back and save a victim here. But for now, it's time to buy cards. So I have 5 time left. I am going to buy a search card for 2. Let's go ahead and buy a sprint card for 2 as well. And we'll take a close call for 1. And these go back into the tableau. And we're ready for the killer's first turn. Now, let's see. The killer's first turn. So it's, if the Killer Wrath is at 1 or 2, increase it by 1. It's not, it's at 4. And then we target killer or final girl or victim and kill. There's no movement on his base action, which is good for me. That's very good for me. So that means he doesn't get to move. Then we get our first terror card. He's coming and there's nothing we can do. If there's no victims on the board, discard and draw the next terror card. Otherwise, increase the horror level. Target victims, move once and kill once. And he can move 2 spaces. So he can actually get to a victim and kill. Where's my dead? Okay, there we go. So 1 dead. Bloodlust goes up, which means increase Divine Wrath by the number of victims at holy spaces, which is 2. So Divine Wrath goes up to 6. Alright. So far, still bad, but not terrible. First round. Alright, so he did kill, but there's nobody in his space to panic, and there's no upkeep. So we can move on to our next turn, where we're going to do exactly what I said we were, and search. Two successes. That's awesome. So I get to choose, I get to take the top 2, choose one, and then place the other either on the top or bottom, whichever I want. This is the Welcome Center, so we can either get the Tribal Mask or the Old Rifle. The Old Rifle can only modify the weak attack action card if you are at a holy space +2 to the maximum range. Ooh. So at sacred spaces, I can shoot further. Tribal Mask. Whenever you receive damage, choose between Divine or Killer Wrath and decrease by the amount of damage received. That could still be good. I think, for now, I'm going to take the gun and put the Tribal Mask on top of the deck so that I can get that, maybe even in my next turn, because that would be helpful. But now I'm going to walk. Hopefully. 2 partials. Oh, I would have lost the time for that search. So with walk, I got 2 partials. I can move 1 space and lose a time, or lose 2 time. Don't really want to lose 2 time. Let me play a close call, and I'm just going to roll 1 again. Still a close call. Alright, well, I'll discard 2 focus then. Charm 1 to a success, and I get to move 1 space at the expense of 1 time. So I'll move here, and we save our first victim. Oh, and I think I'm actually going to... Ooh, I could gain time, or I could take a top action card, which would be good. I could reduce the horror level, or I could move. Let's just take the top item card. Tribal Mask. It can go in my backpack here, and now whenever I take damage, I can decrease the Divine and Killer Wrath. Alright, that's going to end my turn there. I do have a sprint card left, but I'm not going to use it yet. So I am going to take another search card for 2. And I'm going to take... I've got 2 left. I could take a sprint, a guard, or a close call. I think I'm going to take a guard just in case. And then I get my 0 cost back. And then these go back into the tableau. Alright. We're back to Inkanyamba's turn. So his Killer Wrath is still at 3. So it's not 1 or 2, so we don't get to increase it. Now he targets and kills, but there's no one in his space. Next terror card. Tourist Trap. All victims adjacent to a sacred space move there. That's not good for me. That's really not good for me. Okay. So, all victims adjacent to a sacred space move there. So, this one moves here. This one moves here. This one could move to either. So I'm going to roll for 3s or 4s or 5s and 5s or 6s. Anything that's not a 1 or a 2 will get re-rolled. There are no 1s or 2s. Okay, so 4 of them. 4 of them go to the burial grounds, and 2 of them go to the sacred shrine. So all of our victims are now in sacred spaces. Increase Divine Wrath by the number of victims at sacred spaces. And Fire and Brimstones dictates that this one counts as 2. So we have 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That means Divine Wrath is maxed out. You know, because stuff and things. Okay. Then Inkanyamba gets to target, move, and attack. So of course he's going to go here, attack, Bloodlust goes up, and there's no effect here. Bloodlust goes up one more time. He unlocks his dark power. All right. Now, these two victims are going to panic. Let's see, both 5s. So they both go here, where I don't think I can really get to them. Unless I use my sprint card, which I do have. Okay. And then there's no upkeep. Okay, I do have another search card. So let me do a walk first. Ooh, 2 partials. Well, let's discard some weak attack and short rest. And then I can move 1 space to the Welcome Center. Let's go ahead and do another search there. Another double success on searches. I'm doing good on searches. So I get to draw the 2 cards, choose one. The Ceremonial Dagger. That's the one. Because it now does 2 damage instead of 1. Whenever you damage the killer, I get to decrease a Divine or Killer Wrath. And the incense can just go back up here. And I'm not putting the Ceremonial Dagger in my hands just yet. I will in just a minute. But first, I want to do a sprint. Some of these lost me time, didn't they? The walk would have lost me a time, and the search would have lost me a time. But now I'm going to sprint. Two partials. Don't have 2 cards. I do have a guard card. Okay, good. Good, good, good. Okay. So I lose 2 time either way, and I lose 1 health either way. But whenever I receive damage, I get to decrease a wrath. So I'm going to decrease this one. Because if I decrease that other one, it's just going to go right back up on his turn. Alright. And do I want to end? I will be ending my turn here, yes. So I can go ahead and move. Alright, so that ends my turn. I get to buy stuff now. I've only got 2. So I am going to be buying a sprint. And I'll be taking my 0 cost. These can go back in here. And we're on to the killer's turn. Nobody is in his spot for him to kill. So a terror card. Wrath of Opportunity. Unleash Killer Wrath, which just makes horror go up 1 level. Increase Killer Wrath equal to the number of action cards in hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 puts him at 8. And then he gets to target victims, move, and attack. Which unleashes his dark power and unleashes Divine Wrath. which increases the horror level by 2. 1, 2, which increases bloodlust by 1. Chain of events here. Okay. One, 2. Because that was the Divine Wrath that we just unleashed. It also takes 4 time from us. We unleashed it. It increased bloodlust, so we increase Divine Wrath by the number of victims at sacred spaces, which is going to put it all the way back up to the top again, because all of them are in sacred spaces just about. Is that everything? Okay. I think so. Alright. Now, his sacred power is volatile temper. Is that the right one? For some reason, I thought it was something else. Let's just check here. Yep, dark power is volatile temper. Okay. For some reason, I thought it was something else. But anyway, his dark power is volatile temper. And that means at the end of the upkeep phase, we make a horror roll to see if we unleash the Killer Wrath. Which would be pretty bad right now. Okay. But right now it is the panic phase. So we roll for a 2. They go to the lost and found. Luckily they're moving around. Okay. Then we go to the upkeep phase. At which point, getting weak attack back this next time. So no, I'm going to leave the old rifle in my hand. Yeah, I'm leaving the old rifle in my hand for the moment. Oh wait, no, I don't get it back until after this turn. Okay, so I'm going to switch to the ceremonial dagger. During my upkeep phase. And then Yeah. Okay. And then that ends the upkeep phase, so we need to make a horror roll, which is 5, but that is a success, so we do not lose, or we do not unleash the Killer Wrath, which is good. Alright. And now we're back to my turn. I don't have anything to attack with. And I've only got 1 dice right now. So I am going to attempt to focus. Partial. I'll get rid of walk and focus to succeed, so that I can reduce horror by 1. Still loses me a time, and I'm not going to be able to buy anything. But since I'm not going to be able to buy anything, let's go ahead and attempt a sprint. One success. Down to 0 time, and I get to move 2 spaces. So I'm going to move. I've got the guard card, but he's going to go after the victim first. So he'll get there and kill it before I can save it. So I think I'm going to go after these guys up here. So I'm going to go 1, 2. Alright, that's going to end my turn. I don't have any time to buy anything, so all I get are my 0 cost cards back. These get put away. And it is his turn once again. There's nobody in his space. So we draw a tarot card. Rage of the Gods. We do an event. Loud and obnoxious. Whenever Divine Wrath increases, increase it by an additional 1. And then increase Divine Wrath by the number of victims at sacred spaces. It's already at its max. Place the killer at the sacred space with the most victims, or in your space if none remain. And then he kills twice. 1, 2, which unleashes Divine Wrath, which discards all cards except Atonement. So I discard all action cards except Atonement and decrease Divine Wrath by the number of cards discarded. I've got 4 cards in my hand, so all of them get discarded. And we decrease Divine Wrath by 4. Well, this is not going well for me right now. But I think it might get better soon. Okay. No, it's discard, not... They don't go back to the tableau. So I had a guard, and then I had these 0 costs, so they're discarded. Alright. So that was the terror card for this round. It is now the panic phase. We've got 4 victims to panic. Let's see, we have a 1, a 2, a 4, and a 6. They're red, they're hard to read. So it looks like 3, 4, 5, and 6. There is no 1 and 2. So those 2 stay. There is a 4. And there is a 6. So this one came to me. Alright, so that means I can try to get them out. Okay. Alright, there we are. And then it is the upkeep phase, which I don't have anything to do right now, so I will just roll for our volatile temper. Because I have no cards at all. That's a 3, so that's not a success. So we unleash Killer Wrath. He would gain health, but he's already at max. Increase horror. Then he targets, moves, and attacks. So he kills another one. And then we increase all the way to the top and unleash. But unleash just gets rid of cards and I don't have any. So, didn't really do anything. Okay. Alright. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So it's my turn once again. I would only have one dice, but I don't have any cards, so my turn's over. I've got 6 time. So let's see here. What can I do with 6 time? Let's go ahead and take a distraction card for 3. I've got 3 more. Furious Strike is 4. Let me go ahead and get a Sprint for 2 and a Close Call for 1. Alright, put that back up to 6, and we will move on to Inkanyamba's turn. These discarded cards that I had to discard a minute ago can all go back. Alright. Now, he attacks, so he kills the last guy in there. His Bloodlust is at his max. And we draw a terror card. This one's a big one. No one will notice if I break off one of these pretty branches. Increase Divine Wrath by 1. Or by the number of victims in sacred spaces, which would be 2. It's already at max. Unleash Divine Wrath, which means all of my cards, once again, get discarded. Place 2 new victims at Holy Groves, which is the place where I don't want them to be. Okay. All victims adjacent to Holy Groves move there. There are none. Okay. We're okay. We can do this. Well, maybe we can do this. That's the end of his turn. There's nobody to discard. His Killer Wrath is unleashed again. So he's going to move towards the closest victim and kill them. He also would have recovered. His Bloodlust goes up by 1, which means we discard 2 terror cards. But then he moved there, killed, his Bloodlust went up, which means we discarded 2 terror cards. Okay. There's nobody to panic. Wait. That was the... Oh, that was the upkeep. Okay. And during the upkeep phase, I am going to move the old rifle to my hands so that I can at least take a frickin' shot at him. Okay. So, I have no cards. My turn's over. So I take my 0 cost cards, and I've got 6 time points to spend. I think my video's glitching a little bit, but hopefully my audio is coming through loud and clear. Alright. So I've got 6 points to spend. Let's grab an atonement. I've got 4 points left. I'm going to take a Furious Strike. Alright. Now, that's the end of my turn. Sprint and distraction. Alright. So that brings us back to his turn. There's nobody for him to kill right now, so he releases Boiling Anger. Once during each upkeep phase, make a horror roll. Jeez. Brutal. Brutal, brutal, brutal. Okay. Okay. Now it is the panic phase. There's nobody to panic. And we are back to the upkeep phase. Do I make 2 rolls to see if it unleashes twice? I guess so. Alright, so it doesn't unleash once, but it does unleash once. He would regain a health. Horror increases, which increases this, which discards 2 terror cards. Then he gets to target and move once. He's got 5 places of movement. He would target victims first. So 1, 2, 3. He would target. Wait, nope. This one's only 2. He would move here. So he would target victims, kill. Alright. Now it would be the panic phase, but there's nobody to panic. And then the upkeep phase, where I would once again roll to see if Killer Wrath unleashes again. And it does. Twice. So, first time. Bloodlust increases. Discard 2 horror cards. There's none to discard. Then he targets whoever's closer, which is me, and attacks. I don't think I have anything to block with, so he hits for his full 3 health that he can hit for. Alright. And then again. So, Bloodlust. Let's see. Horror increases, which increases Bloodlust. Which then he can target. He's going to target me because I'm the closest. He attacks for 3. And let's see if I just lost. I did. So this one was set up to really screw you over, it looks like. With the Boiling Anger and the Volatile Temper. Yeah, that one was brutal. Okay, well, anyway, thank you for watching, and hope you have a great new year.